Right, okay, students, are you able to see the screen? Students, students, are you able to see the screen? No, I want to start teaching. I'm asking whether you're able to see the screen or no. Are you able to hear my voice? I'm not getting any response from anyone. Students, hello. Students, are you able to hear me? Are students able to hear me? Hello, students. Can you hear me?
So can't hear your voice.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to rectify that. Okay, students, now can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
yeah, okay, okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Let us quickly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
fine,
Yes,
fine.
sir.
One person says yes, sir, it is enough. Other everybody does not have to repeat. Okay, yeah. So
Yes,
yesterday
sir.
we left off.
Yes, sir.
So yesterday we left off at secularism, different types of secularism adopted by different countries, right? So So now the features of secularism of India, how secularism is adopted in India, let us try and understand that in full detail so we can come to know how we practice secularism in India. First, it uses a strategy of distancing itself from religion. Means the state distances itself from religion. The Indian state is not ruled by a religious group, nor does it support any religion. In India, government spaces like law courts, police stations, government schools, and offices are not supposed to display or promote any one religion. That is the reason yesterday when I spoke to you, yesterday also I told you, if you go to any government office, if you go to the court, if you go to the police station, any of these government offices, if you go to, you will see that there is not even a single religious photo, any photo of God or any temple, masjid, any of these photos you will not see in any of these offices. The only photos you will see is the photo of Mahatma Gandhi. You might see the photo of B.R. Ambedkar or Subhash Chandra Bose or any of our national leaders, freedom fighters. Their photos definitely would be there, but religious photos are not there. This is simply because the government does not support this. What it says is every person is free to practice their own religion, whatever they want to practice. We do not support any one single religion, and that is the reason why these photos will not be displayed in any of the offices. So this is one practice, this is one way wherein the government distances itself, means it keeps itself away from any religious controversy or any religious problem. Next one. The second way is through a strategy of non-interference. This means that in order to respect the sentiments of all religions and not interfere with religious practices, the states make certain exemptions for particular religious communities. Means it says that whatever religious practices you have within the community, any Hindu pujas would be there, any other Muslim religious festival celebrations would be there, the langars which are organized by the Sikh community, all these religious practices which are there, they will not be disturbed by the government. As long as no human being is being hurt, nobody's civil rights are being disturbed, all human beings are being taken care of and treated properly. As long as this thing happens, no, none of the religious practices will be disturbed, nor will the government interfere in these religious practices. This is one of the second roles of the government, how government adopts secularism in the country. Now the third way is through a strategy of intervention. Now, there are a few religious practices which are not good for us. Now, say for example, the practice of untouchability, which was there in the Hindu religion. There was a caste system in the Hindu religion, and the lower caste people were supposed to be, or they were categorized as untouchable. This was a very bad practice, a very discriminatory practice against the right to equality, and this practice has been abolished by the Indian Constitution. The Constitution says that each and every human being, each and every citizen of India is equal, and everybody will be treated equally. Everybody has the right to vote. Everybody's vote is counted as one vote. That is the equal status which is given by the Constitution of India to each and every citizen of India. So in this scenario, there is no place for untouchability. So this is a very old practice which was happening in India, and that is the reason why this is a bad religious practice, and that is the reason why this practice has been abolished by the Constitution and removed. So in this way, if the government finds that there are a few religious practices which are bad for the people of the country, which are bad for the citizens of India, which may hurt the citizens of India, hurt their feelings, hurt their right to equality. If this right to equality is getting affected by these religious practices, then the government will interfere in those practices. They will put a law to abolish this kind of religious practice. Another very good example I can give you is in Muslim law. In Muslim law, a person, a man, is permitted to have any number of wives. Okay, it is as per the Holy Quran, it is permitted. But another problem which is there is a type of talaq. Okay, you might have, if you see older papers of 3 or 4 years back, this was a law which was passed by the government. It is called as triple talaq. If the man utters the word talaq, talaq, talaq to any one wife, then that wife will get separated from the husband. It is legally notified in the Muslim law. It is permitted under Muslim law. So what the government said is, in this condition, if just by the utterance of this word talaq 3 times, the wife would get separated from the husband, then it is very bad for the woman, because there are many times where the woman is left homeless, their children are left homeless, and they don't have anywhere to go, they don't have any work, no food to eat. This is a very dangerous situation, a very bad situation for the woman, wherein no support is given by the husband. So this practice of this triple talaq must be stopped. It must be removed. It must be abolished, because it is not good for the women and the children in this community who get affected by this particular provision of religion. So a law was passed, and this law came into effect wherein this practice of triple talaq was abolished. It was stopped by the government. So this way, the government will intervene only when there is a law or a practice which is bad for the people, or harmful for the people or the citizens of India. This is a way, the third way in which secularism is practiced in India. Okay. Now, the intervention of the state can also be in the form of support. If you remember the fundamental rights, there is one fundamental right which says that cultural and educational rights. One of the fundamental rights of which is there in the Constitution of India is cultural and educational rights. Now, under this right, this cultural and education right, any religious group, they can come together, they can form their own group of people, and they can start their own educational institute, they can start their own temples or mosques or gurudwaras, whatever they want they can do. And they can also have educational institutes which wherein they will give concessional fees, discounted fees for people belonging to their particular religion. In this way they try to promote education and see that more and more people who belong to their community get educated. This is one of the practices. Okay, there are a few students who are trying to get into the class late. I will not, I have also put a message for everybody. Please be very careful. 5 minutes is all the time that is permitted for joining the online class. Anybody trying to join later will not be permitted. Okay. You can tell your friends, whoever is there needs standard, please keep them also informed. Yeah, coming back to the lesson.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, coming back to the lesson, as I was saying, the government in such cases, no, they give support to such kind of religious groups who want to enhance education, or maybe they want to build hospitals, all these kind of good work which is trying to be done by a religious group, the government will support. Now, how do they support this? They might give them a piece of land, free of cost or at a very low rate, where the group can construct their school or a hospital. They might give some concession in the payment of taxes. They might give electricity free of charge for a certain period of time. All these kinds of benefits the government will extend to these groups, not only because they belong to a group, but this benefit is extended to any kind of religious group, provided the group is doing work for the benefit of human beings, for the benefit of humanity, for the benefit of Indian citizens. Once this is there, definitely the government will support that. So, let us again broadly see how Indian secularism is different from that of other democratic countries. Unlike the strict separation between religion and the state in American secularism, in Indian secularism, the state can intervene in religious affairs. As I told you, if there is something bad happening, some bad religious practice, then the state can intervene in that particular religious practice. Indian constitution intervened in Hindu religious practice in order to abolish untouchability. Untouchability, yes. I will give you another example of this abolition of bad Hindu practices.
Voice is not clear.
Is my voice clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So I will give you a few examples of very bad religious practices which were there in the Hindu community, which the government intervened and they abolished. We heard about untouchability. Now another one is something which is called as Made Snana. In Kannada, it was called as Made Snana. What this practice was is, in South India there is a temple. What would happen in this temple is, the Brahmin community people, whenever they have any kind of religious function in the temple, they would have lunch over there, right? And once the lunch is over, they would have lunch on leaves, banana leaf. On banana leaf they would have lunch. And once this lunch is over, they would leave the banana leaf over there itself on the floor. Normally when we have lunch on banana leaf, we sit on the floor and we eat, right? So the Brahmins, they would have lunch, and once they finished their lunch, they would leave the leaf on the floor itself and they would walk away, go away from there for washing their hands. Now non-Brahmin people, they would come to that place wherever the leaves were kept after having lunch, and then they would roll on those leaves. Entire body of theirs, they would roll on those leaves. This was a very bad, horrible practice, a very unhealthy practice, which was happening in this temple, and it was called as Made Snana. The government intervened. This is a very old practice. Okay, I'm telling you, this practice is hundreds and hundreds of years old. The government intervened in this practice very recently, about 5 or 6 years back. The government intervened, government of Karnataka, and they made a law saying that this Made Snana, this practice is very bad, very unhealthy, and will not be followed. And they banned that practice. They stopped this kind of practice in that particular temple. So, like this, there are many superstitious practices also, very superstitious beliefs which are there in different religions. Uh, like sacrificing of animals, sacrificing of chicken, sacrificing of small birds. All these kinds of practices are there, where the government tries to step in and they try to pass laws so that animals are not hurt simply at all. These people are not hurt. All these kinds of laws the government will pass to see that nothing bad happens in society to the people as a whole. So the Indian Constitution intervened in Hindu religious practices in order to abolish untouchability, and in the same way, they will also intervene with whenever they see that there is a religious practice which is bad for the people. In Indian secularism, though the state is not strictly separate from religion, it does maintain a principled distance as long as religion is concerned. This means that any interference in religions by the state has to be based on some particular logic. As I said, whenever the government will intervene in religion, it has to be because there is a wrong practice. Otherwise, it will keep itself away from religion. It will not disturb the practice. So, in conclusion, the Indian state is secular and works in various ways to prevent religious domination. The Indian Constitution guarantees fundamental rights that are based on these secular principles. However, this is not to say that there is no violation of these rights in Indian society. Indeed, it is precisely because such violations happen frequently that we need a constitutional mechanism to prevent them from happening. Even though the constitution says we are equal, even though the government intervenes, even though all these things are there in place, we still hear many pieces of news wherein the people belonging to minority groups, people belonging to lower communities are treated very badly. There's a lot of injustice which happens, and the status of equal rights, which is given by the constitution, is not maintained for many times. It does happen in India. So, this lesson, I will give you a small activity which you have to do in this lesson. Please listen very carefully. I want you to find out from newspapers or magazines or whatever articles you have at home. You can also search on the internet, because since all of you are all connected to the internet and using phones, this activity can be done through that also. I want you to find out pieces of news wherein such kind of religious practices are still happening in India, wherein people belonging to minority communities are affected because of violation of this secular right which is given to the people of India. So this small activity you can do, you can either collect these news articles, you can cut it out from the newspaper, or you can write a small article about it in your notebooks. This particular activity I want all of you to do. Once more, I will repeat. The activity over here is, I will also put it in the homework section for all of you. The activity is, you have to find out news articles where the secularism is not maintained and people belonging to minority groups are affected. Many times we hear news articles, Dalit man beaten, Dalit man put into jail. Some kind of news articles like this we always see in the newspapers. So I want you to find out such kind of news articles, cut it out from the newspaper, paste it in your notebook. If you don't have newspaper, you can search from the internet and you can write about it in your notebook. So this is a small activity. Details I'll post it in the.
So we can write about Dalits.
Yes. And I want you to write about it in modern India. Okay, I don't want you to write a 100-year-old story. Okay, I will put details of this in the homework section also. You can read the homework section and you can write this in your notebook. So that's all the time for now. Our class has come to an end. So please do read your textbooks and as usual, write the notes for this